Ladies and gentlemen, in addition to the Mueller team dissolving, so you have top attorneys on the Mueller team just leaving. So the team is pretty much dissolving, not going to be there anymore. The report is almost certainly within Trump's hands already in terms of a summary. So William Barr is probably not going to tell everyone, oh, we're going to summarize the report right now. They're going to summarize the report, give it to Trump, and then give it to Congress. But this is really, really interesting. It's big news. It's actually perhaps the most important thing that we've heard today. Nunes says $250 million lawsuit against Twitter is the first of many, accuses company of gaslighting. California GOP Representative Devin Nunes, who has opened a $250 million lawsuit against Twitter, alleging that the social media company negligently failed to remove defamatory and malicious tweets against him and his family, told Fox News on Monday that the lawsuit will be the first of many. Ladies and gentlemen, I had somebody on Twitter literally threaten me to the point where I could get a police report. I went to the police station in Los Angeles, showed the officer, actually emailed the officers, emailed the police station or the police the tweets that I received, the direct messages I received from this one person who was on the left who was like, I'm going to expose you as somebody who's not on the left. Well, now I'm a Trump supporter. But he didn't really... I never knew I would become a Trump supporter. I thought I was always going to stay on the left. But since he's such a great president, bringing home Americans from where he wants to do that, peace between North and South Korea, which did not happen under any other president, a great economy, finally realized the day that I decided to become a Trump supporter was the day the DNC sued Santa Claus, Trump, Assange, the Tooth Fairy, the Republican National Committee, all of these things. So I said, that's it. I can never be associated with the Democratic Party. That's the day I decided to officially become a Trump supporter. I was always leaning away from the Democratic Party. But this guy took it upon himself to say, oh, well, you know what? I'm going to expose you. And he started, because initially I was going to debate this guy, some fake phony account or whatever, some account with maybe 100 Twitter followers linked to another account. So he's a writer at a left-wing publication that he said he actually kind of alluded to the fact, or he did say that he had retweeted a number of my articles before. So anyway, this guy says, oh, I know where you live. How about I come over to your place? Really threatening, makes other threatening statements, sent it to the police, showed Twitter the police report. And they say, basically, we have to look into this. We'll get back to you. Could you imagine if an alt-right person did that to somebody on the left? That's just one. I literally went to the police, got a police report using the profile of the Twitter account. They have all the tweets from this guy, and then I send it to Twitter. Twitter's like, well, we have to get back to you, and they never got back to me. So that's just an example of bias, and I was on the left at that point. But anything that's not sanctioned, it's done, and it's completely biased. Well, let's just continue reading. The case we're basically making is this was an orchestrated effort, so people were targeting me. They were anonymous accounts that were developed, and these accounts are not supposed to exist. The same anonymous account that tried to threaten me, which was honestly one of the things that eventually pushed me to being a Second Amendment advocate. You have people who think that they can target you and insult you and threaten you, and if you protect yourself and your family, and you can, defend yourself with the Second Amendment, if God forbid you need to, in your home, you're safe, you're protected. You are at a great advantage over the hater that potentially could stalk you or whatever. The case we're basically making is that this was an orchestrated effort. So what happened to Devin Nunes perhaps is similar to what happened to me, I'm not on Twitter. I left Twitter because I told this one person who has literally obsessed over me, like he probably dreams of me. He's written like 10 hit pieces on me. He'll probably write his 11th because he has nothing to do in his life. And I just said like the F word or something, and I was banned for a week. And I was like, I don't need this. So he actually did a great mitzvah, which is a good deed. Like, I left Twitter because of that. But the case we're basically making is that this was an orchestrated effort, so people were targeting me. They were anonymous accounts that were developed, and these accounts are not supposed to exist. Twitter says that they don't have accounts that do this. They do. There are anonymous accounts linked to left-wing journalists, one of which this one anonymous account is already, like, the LAPD has all the tweets from this guy. Twitter does nothing. Twitter doesn't care because the bias in Tim Pool talks about this. He's brilliant regarding all of this, and he was on Joe Rogan, and he exposed Jack Dorsey for who he is. Everyone in tech, I guess I should say almost all the top tech CEOs, whether it's Dorsey or Zuckerberg, all of them have a bias either leaning left, or they see that there's political power influence within the Democratic Party and Hollywood, so they lean left regarding their vantage points, and they create algorithms that are overtly biased. So if you're talking about a subject like immigration, if you say something that isn't necessarily, something that isn't hate-filled at all, but has a conservative vantage point to it, that could trigger the algorithm, and then Facebook or Twitter would then be on its way to suspending you or banning you or whatever. It's not about hate speech. There's a difference, because if it was hate speech, you can't... How many times have people on the left gone after me regarding Israel? So there's no hate speech regarding people on the left who want to absolutely destroy a country that I had my bar mitzvah in. I'm Jewish. You have people who were calling everyone the most horrendous words, disgusting to even Jewish people. Nazi this, all this stuff, Auschwitz, all. And this is on the left. Basically, the most violent, disgusting ways of describing Israel using the Holocaust. And that's not considered hate speech on the left. Anything against Trump, you can look at Keith Olbermann. All the nasty, disgusting things Keith Olbermann has said. I mean, profanity beyond belief. Sexist, misogynistic things that you could ever... You can't even imagine if it was somebody on the right saying it, their account would have been suspended. No. Same with... what's her name? Same with... she looks like the bride of Carrot Top. What's her name? You know who I'm talking about. Oh, Headless Photo. That's a good one. What's her name? Kathy Griffin. Same with every single comedian or actor on the left. You had one guy who was threatening Barron Trump. He wasn't suspended. I don't believe he was suspended. He might have. He was forced to delete his tweet after outrage. But it's like it's so obvious. I mean, I'm going on and on. I'm no longer on Twitter because I don't need it to grow my channel. I don't need it for my writing. I don't need it for anything. My books are still being purchased on Amazon. I don't need it for anything. So this is one of many lawsuits. And this is just great. Representative Devin Nunes suing Twitter. Spoof accounts for $250 million. Twitter allows spoof accounts, and they allowed the guy that targeted me, that account is linked to the account of a journalist who said that he liked my work and then was retweeting some of my articles prior and wanted to actually eventually debate me, but then I was like, no, this guy's weird. Then he started threatening me. Then I went to the police. Then Twitter was like, police report, nothing we can do. We'll look into it. If the tables were reversed and I was this left-wing or liberal or progressive, or yes, at that point I thought I was, but somebody who towed the party line and just loved, if I was a New York Times journalist and I showed a police report to Twitter, you better believe that spoof account would have been completely scrubbed off of Twitter. Twitter is a place only for Democrats, liberals, not even for progressives, because a lot of progressives don't really adhere to the groupthink. You have to view Trump to be a menace to society, and that doesn't matter who you are. You could be this anarchist, you could be this left-wing, want to destroy the country person. As long as you don't like Trump, you're okay on Twitter. You can say whatever you'd like. And that's the case, but we can just get into this. Look. Leftist exec hates her son watching Shapiro videos, says she'd like Shapiro banned from YouTube. Shapiro fires back. This is Daily Wire. So you have an interview with Susan Wojcicki and Kara Swisher. And Kara Swisher is oh my God, my son is watching Ben Shapiro, and Ben Shapiro's the gateway. Ben Shapiro's the gateway to all of these horrible. And then it's Jordan Peterson. Yeah, so what? Maybe your son disagrees with you, Miss Swisher. Maybe he's intelligent enough to realize that some of your vantage points are off a little. If my kids eventually disagree with me politically, I won't blame YouTube. I'll perhaps blame the merits of my arguments. Maybe you should think of that. But it's the gateway drug. And eventually you see this. What happened to, and I remember Two Live Crew. Two Live Crew taught me, this was a rap group, amazing rap group, which they have to have a reunion tour in this day and age because their songs would melt the Justice Warriors of today. I mean, absolutely melt. We need Two Live Crew in this world. Like, this is the era that Two Live Crew was God made them to perform in this era, not in the 90s and the 80s. But they had a song, Banned in the USA. And their music was banned, and it was like 13, 14 years old, and I realized, hey, you know what? This is ridiculous. You can't ban music. Because then people are just going to find other ways. You can't ban anything. Guns, narcotics. People are always going to find ways to get what they want to get if they're either a criminal or insane, or if they're just a normal human being who wants to listen to good music. Two Live Crew was awesome. Okay? That their albums should never have been banned. But today, their albums would probably on Twitter be banned. You probably couldn't if they had music videos out on Twitter and Facebook. Twitter and Facebook would very likely ban them. And the televangelists of today are really people like Kara Swisher, people like Jack Dorsey. A guy like Jack Dorsey hides behind the algorithm. Let's just see what he says regarding his algorithm. This is Jack Dorsey. Despite the successes we have seen, this is what he told Congress, despite the successes we are seeing with our use of algorithms to combat abuse, manipulation, and bad faith actors, I literally went to the LAPD, and the LAPD looked at the tweets and said, yeah, you can file a police report. And Twitter was like, we'll get back to you. We recognize that even a model created without deliberate bias may nevertheless result in biased outcome. There's absolutely deliberate bias. This is just like Peter Strzok and Page and Comey and McCabe and all of them. They're like, don't judge us by our actions and by literally what we say. Judge us by what we by the principle of, well, we can hate Trump and be fair to him. No, that's not the way people work. Dorsey has a left-wing bias. Twitter is not. Bias can happen inadvertently due to many factors, such as quality of the data used to train our models. In addition to ensuring that we are not deliberately biasing the algorithms, it is our responsibility to understand, measure, and reduce these accidental biases. No, they're overt biases. They are not accidental biases, because everything that's put in the algorithm that's bad happens to correlate with conservative principles or values or rhetoric or whatever. You cannot say that a $250 million lawsuit against Twitter will lead to nothing when there's so much evidence. There's so much evidence where Twitter is deliberately stifling conservative voices, and not only conservative voices. You have not just conservative voices, you have politicians. They are taking the active measure of actually trying to censor and stymie GOP politicians. So Nunes sues Twitter for $250 million. The lawsuit alleges defamation, conspiracy, and negligence as well as violations of the state's prohibition against insulting words, effectively fighting words that tend towards violence and breach of the peace. Oh, that happens all the time. The left is completely unhinged, and they think that they can just always complain and say, ban this person, ban this person, ban this person. This is all okay. Axios ran an article, I think Tim Pool was talking about it, regarding the influence, the article was the influence of alt-right. What was it? Oh, yeah, Andrew Yang. The alt-right is interested in Andrew Yang, something like that. And the article starts off with they spread so many theories that influenced the election. Which one? What? That Hillary Clinton, that the Clinton Foundation took in money from Uranium One? That's true. That Hillary Clinton referred to black youth as super predators? That's true. That Hillary Clinton, according to the New York Times, referred to Mahatma Gandhi as a gas station attendant and then apologized for it? That's true. That Clinton said she survived Bosnian sniper fire? Well, she didn't, but it's true that she said she did. Where are these conspiracies that influenced the election? How about Democrats are completely corrupt? AOC is an example. You have 0 Medicare for all bills. Why is that? I thought it was so feasible. I thought people are losing their lives. I thought that she promised. She's like, well, the progressive message is resonating in the Midwest. Yeah, because you promised voters that you would implement and that you would enact and you would sponsor bills pertaining to Medicare for all and abolishing ICE and a $15 minimum wage. And if you think those are important, you voted for these people and they're not doing anything. There are no bills that are being championed by people like AOC pertaining directly to progressive values. They're lying and they're hypocrites. Anyway, Twitter is a machine. Nunes' personnel attorney told Fox it is a modern-day Tammany Hall. Congressman Nunes intends to hold Twitter fully accountable for its abusive behavior and misconduct. Look, it's interesting, too, because if Twitter was owned by a Republican, that person would have been raked over the coals for influencing the election. The allegation against Trump is that Twitter bots and Facebook ads swung the election, and yet, how is it that Dorsey and Zuckerberg have completely evaded culpability for the horrific outcome regarding Trump winning? How is it that the people who run these sites are not blamed by anyone within the Democratic Party for actually allowing and taking money from Russian operatives? Yes. Then the Facebook vice president says, By the way, we are the majority of the ads were seen after the election, and they were meant just to sow discord. They weren't meant to influence the election. Oops. So they're lying. They lost. They had to save face. They fabricated and set up Trump. They framed him. And now you have this $250 million lawsuit in addition to a Mueller report that's going to go straight to Trump after being summarized. And Democrats will lose yet again. Give me your thoughts on that one, too. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Conservative politicians, all of them that have been wronged by Twitter, should pursue legal action. They should. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to the channel. We're growing. Thank you.